Hello everyone, this is East Dragon, and welcome back to another episode of Fire Emblem Heroes. We got a rush. Luckily there aren't as many replays, but we're going to blitz through the details here. If you want to check out the units, we'll have to pause the video, kind of a deal. Hopefully the actual replays don't take too long. I don't suspect they will, but we'll see. We might have to forego animations if it takes too long. But the problem was in Arena Assaults, I was getting either screwed over on score or screwed over on matches because some of the maps this week are just abysmally bad. Unfortunately for us here, I forgot to switch my heavy traps. So this is a fake heavy trap, so Fallen Edelgard can just go ahead and rampage here, which is not what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to force the smite onto that heavy trap or disarm trap or whatnot, but that didn't happen. So here they decide to hit end turn, of course, and Edelgard is going to tank Seliph easily because of course she just has a solid defense stat. She's bonus, what's new, but she can't seem to quite kill Seliph, and that is a problem because of course she no longer has any damage reduction, which means Bramamon gets to go to town, and Fallen Edelgard does not have enough attack to one-shot here. And so Bramamon barely picks up the one-round KO, but it's still a one-round KO. Bonus season out of 10, and Ripperoni's there. And from here on out, of course, Seliph has advantage, but he's not a threat to Noe or anything, so they're just going to be able to face tank with Noe easily because of course Seliph never actually does any damage, Kappa. And nothing too special here. It probably wouldn't have ended exactly this way if whatchamacallit, if we hadn't forgotten to switch the heavy traps, because the other heavy trap placement is to quote-unquote guard the healing tower, but not really, because most people are going to smite up onto it anyways if they're going to snipe down the healing tower, so it's kind of useless in that position. But I think let's just blitz through this because this is just Noe barely picking up the one-round KO on Nils and kind of barely picking up the one-round KO there as well, so moving on. I'm also just going a little faster and in anticipation of someone randomly matching me at close to the end of the season, so we just want to have enough time to account for that in the case it happens. So far I only have 9 replays this week, so I think we should be able to get through everything relatively quickly. But of course this week's meme, if you haven't already heard already, is turn 1 AoE Legendary Julia. Which honestly, not terrible if Milla didn't exist because Sabotage Attack is kind of a problem. We're running Life and Death over Fury for some reason. I don't know, for the memes obviously, but unfortunately for Mer, she takes quite a bit of damage from Bramamon, and again this is the +0 Bramamon, which is a small problem. Of course, there's the near save Brave Hector to guard against Seliph, who would have done quite a bit to Mer, but unfortunately the second Bramamon is going to be a bit too much for Mer, and Ripperoni's. And because of that, Bramamon can go attack yet again, thanks to Nils, and he picks up the one-round KO on Bonus Air. Honestly, from this week, Bonus Air was super useful. There's so many instances where Air barely lived something or picked up basically exact lethal. The extra HP, attack, speed, defense, all the stats are useful on Air for our team, so Ripperoni's here. End turn didn't quite work the way they wanted it to. But recurring theme here is, well, end turn, what's new? Naturally, since we're rush climbing, we're naturally going to face heavily merged units, so it's not a surprise. But still interesting to see what people come up with for their strategy, because really, the main thing that I see is that a lot of people who bring like the end turns have people with end turn teams like this, where they just really want to just hit end turn and call it a day. They generally just want to, they don't bring Milla, so that allows our double dancers to be useful. But here, the heavy trap, we did fix it, so it does come in handy this time, because otherwise we probably would have gotten rampaged on. This is a +6 Fallen Edelgard with Bonfire, so she can actually do some damage. And Seliph here, doing some damage, of course, thanks to rigged shenanigans. Seliph lives again for absolutely no reason. I don't know why it keeps happening, but Bramamon here, of course, Edelgard does not have that much res, so Luna's not going to pick up the one-shots. But, you know, we're whittling her down. Unfortunately, well, Seliph attacks again because, well, she's got nothing better to do. So she gets a net heal out of that. And Sylvia attacks, she gets another net heal out of this. Thanks to Bonfire, she picks up the kill. But unfortunately for Fallen Edelgard, there is something called the meme AoE Legendary Julia. Of course, Glacies would have obliterated as well. But yeah, you can't quite take on that many attacks with Fallen Edelgard without removing some specials, so rip. And naturally, when you see an jank IP team like mine, Gale Force is always an option, so pretty nice Gale Force team here, pretty decent merges. And a decent comp. It's not ultra consistent, but it's pretty good. Legendary Lucina bonus also helps with, I guess, mobility and whatnot. Also, she comes with Wings of Mercy in her base kit, so that's nice. Looks like they're just getting set up here, but they do have Milla here. Milla is just super useful, but of course, she takes up a slot, and her HP stat isn't the greatest. Even if she has a lot of defensive res, typically she's taking like the some chills, Dark Shrine debuffs, so combined with her low HP, it's not unusual for someone to go ahead and pick up the it's not unusual for someone to just pick up the one-round KO on Milla, but Roy here, thanks to Gale Force and Special Fighter shenanigans built in, the player face Special Fighter I should say, Roy's able to get into Wings of Mercy range. I'm guessing they killed it, or if they didn't, they were just planning to run, because of course they brought Milla, so they have an option to run. Although Wings of Mercy wouldn't be active either. Actually, it would be. So I guess that would be something to think about. But Freya barely picks up the kill on Sylvia, but thanks to her damage reduction, she is able to barely survive. And that allows them to just keep going. Because one major weakness with this layout is that the highly merged Bramamon is in the corner, where he can get trapped, as they're doing here, and Legendary Julia, unfortunately we're running AoE instead of Glacies, so you know, if we had Glacies they can't make this play, and we wouldn't be running Life and Death either, so they would be even further away from picking up the one shot there. But that's how it goes when you goofball. I just wanted to see how AoE would do this week. It was pretty interesting, to say the least. It's definitely useful when you have, you know, on an ideal day, 82 visible attack, or ideal match I should say. But, well, yeah, the potential to AoE is pretty nice, because, you know, even Raphael here, 55 res, even if he doesn't get hit by Dark Shrine or whatnot, he still takes a pretty good chunk out of an 82 attack AoE. Of course, in practice, if there's like Milla, we're running Life and Death, so Legendary Julia is 100% getting hit by Sabotage Attack if they're running base kit with some other stuff. So, not ideal, to say the least. Here they have Column 5 Bolt Tower, presumably to tech against the super right side biased teams. And so, they don't need to go in, of course, because Julia is not too big of a threat. She's out of range of Healing Tower. So there's nothing really to worry about there. So all they have to do is just get set up and then just go fling everyone in. And so thanks to Dagger, Duelif can fling himself over to attack Seliph. And of course Seliph's never one-shotting. If we had one cooldown Ignis, we could do like 1% better, but somehow, somewhere, we would totally want to get like something like 0 cooldown Ignis, but considering he's pretty high up the infantry pulse ladder, Kappa, he's like 3rd up from the top. It's probably not happening unless we do some jank things like get him times pulse and then get another unit to out HP him. Maybe like we could get a Merrick to do that or something, and then use Dark Excalibur to get like a turn 1 special up on Merrick. Like, I don't know, Bonfire? Or if we could get 2 charges, we get turn 1 Ignis on him too. That would be funny, but of course in practice that doesn't really help us out too much. It doesn't help us out with some of our fundamental problems, like terrible mobility, never enough damage output. Common theme, but common theme of course is people trapping the Bramon in the corner. It's intentionally put like that. You know, if we wanted to actually make this defense layout better, we wouldn't give them that option, pretty much would be the idea. But just a clean win. And here we have yet more end turn. It appears people really like using Brave Hector against Infantry Pulse. I don't know why. That's my question. Like, if you bring like odd or even Pulse Tie, or Pulse Smoke, or some kind of capacity to get rid of specials, I feel like it would make sense. But if you're just planning to just tank all the specials, I think there's a small problem in reasoning with that, because it takes a lot of stats, a lot of bulk to pull that off. But of course they're going to use Flame here, because damage reduction is nice. But Bramon, of course, doesn't care about Flame. So Bramon's just going to do a lot of damage. And the problem with these Brave Hector variants that run Bonfire with Mystic Boost is you only heal the 6 from Mystic Boost. So if you take a lot of damage, you're just in trouble, but you can see the AoE doing a lot there. But unfortunately, thanks to Flame, Brave Hector's able to survive. But unfortunately, there's one small problem, and is that the AoE special kinda whittled Gustav to 1 HP. So no amount of damage reduction is going to save him from taking 1 damage, because if you don't take 0 damage, only 100% damage reduction can reduce that 1 damage to 0, or something like Shield Pulse, but yeah, didn't quite work out for them there. And well, what do you know, more entry. It's a recurring theme that, you know, people are just bringing Brave Hector. I genuinely have no idea why. At least they have Milla, so there's some utility in isolating one of my 2 dancers. But still, it's kind of like, They decide to hit end turn here, but again, I don't know if this is the best spot to hit end turn from. It's kind of the same recurring problem. Bramon's up against Hector here, and Hector can only heal 6 at any point, so whenever he takes a lot of damage, it's just, well, a lot of damage. And if you get hit by a lot of damage too many times, that becomes a problem. But then there's units like Seliph that are just going to potato into Brave Hector, of course. But this Bramon's going to attack, and well, we don't have low attack res or whatnot, so Brave Hector is going to barely survive. That's the cost of using Wings of Mercy. You don't get to have low attack res. There's always some sort of trade-off. And so they decide to rally up Hector and smite him up, but unfortunately he can't one-shot Julia. And, well, you guessed it, light and dark out of 10. The only thing that's actually buffing here is Peony. Bonus doubler does absolutely nothing. So, and Mill is out of range, not that it would have mattered there. And well, with AoE, Julia is just going to obliterate Hector. And now we have double dancers. So we can go ahead and get 2 dances off on Julia and pick up the kill on Elowood. And at this point, there's just 2 units too many lost in this match. So they're just gonna go ahead and surrender here. I think we're gonna make it. There's currently 2 replays left, and whatchamacallit, 2 replays left and like 8 minutes or so. So, well, I don't need to keep saying it, but End Churn, the sequel, that was pretty much this week, but that's kind of what happens when you rush climb. I don't know what these other people, what other teams these people have, because, well, they just bring End Churn, which naturally, to some degree, it makes sense. If you have a competent enough tank, you could totally tank here. And they use their Leon here to attack Bramamon, because Luna is going to do a lot of damage to Leons, so you just want to get rid of as many Lunas as you can. But even though Legendary Julia is debuffed with Sabotage Attack, AoE says I don't care, and Ripperonis to young Leon there. Self can pick up a kill on air. Thanks to Divine Tearfing, gets the guaranteed follow-up attack. And he also picks up the kill on Peony with Ignis. Absolute overkill. And yeah, didn't use Brave Hector here, so not sure if the outcome would have been better, but I think it probably would have, maybe, because he's running Soul, so I would imagine he'd probably be able to survive. He wouldn't have to face tank the AoE from Legendary Julia, but it would be a little questionable what you would do the following turn. And currently the last replay, I haven't watched this one yet, so let's see what we got here. Alright, Bolt Tower, plus 10 Henry, pretty nice. The only thing that's not so great is his attack stat, but that's pretty standard for Henry. That's something that's always plagued him since the beginning of his existence in Fire Emblem Heroes. But he does have pretty solid bulk, 71 HP, 40 something, 40 plus defense and res, both sides. You can see here he's taking a whopping 3 base damage from Bramamon. Of course, Luna is going to help out with quite a bit of damage, in giant quotes. And Henry will just be able to cleanly pick up the 1-run K1 Bramamon with a pretty juicy bonfire for 24. And there's Fatal Smoke, although I'm not entirely sure why they have Fatal Smoke on Henry, but we don't question it. And well, Seliph being Seliph, he's not going to 1-run KO a 72 HP Felix anytime soon. So, but Felix does not pick up the kill on Seliph either. But Henry being tanky is going to easily pick up the kill here, even through the Divine Tearfing's damage reduction. And Felix goes to attack Julia, and again, we don't have turn 1 Glacies up, because then they probably wouldn't be able to make this play. But that's how it goes, and rip Julia. But unfortunately, Bramamon plus Nils equals we get another attack in, and well, Farse Felix isn't going to be able to survive this Luna, because damage. And yeah, That seems like that's going to be the end of the match, I would imagine, because they can definitely do better than 1 unit loss. And yep. So that is all the replays from this week. Got a few rematches. Overall, pretty solid season. Offense was not as ideal as it could have been. For example, if we didn't screw ourselves over in that one match, we could have gotten 10 more lift to get 21,244. So we are outside of top 500, but it's still top 1k. We got our best defense score this week, which is pretty cool. And top 1k, even though we don't really try hard ether raids every week, it's fun to occasionally quote unquote try hard with our goofball team and get a pretty decent score. Yeah, arena, a bit annoying. We had to do a bit of fishing this week because I think 3,800 was not enough to stay, but Arena Assault we finally got not memed on by RNG. For some reason the game kept chucking, what was it, 750s and 752s at us, which is not ideal if you're trying to make top 1k. And some of the higher up matches were just too ridiculous on some of the maps. There's that one map with, you know, let's just go in Arena Assault, see if I can get the map. Yep, this map. This map in Arena Assault is such a nightmare against like cav ranged units in combination with Legendary Sigurd, and you know, double dancers or some shenanigan of that nature. It's not a great time. So yeah, we need to do something to get ourselves more prepared for an Arena Assault long term, because our budget shenanigans are slowly becoming too budget and too difficult to cheese teams on maps like that. So we'll have to think about it. I'm not entirely sure what it would involve, probably just building up a lot of units, and as you can see we are stockpiling feathers. Probably gonna have to burn some soon. I think I'm going to build Fae first, the green infantry dragon Fae, because I don't have bow Fae. That would be cool. You know, she has fire sweep bow, she's a pretty decent archer as well, but yeah, I don't have her. Our budget Arena Assault shenanigans, it's pretty decent, but yeah, with units like Fallen Edelgard, Legendary Sigurd, Legendary Corrin is still a problem for us, unironically, because negating Fang out of 10 and having a decent speed stat is a problem for us. But anyways, enough rambling, we'll be back when the results drop in. Alright, let's see here, rank 505. Alright, not too shabby. Feels bad that we couldn't get slightly higher, but you know, we got pretty lucky on defense overall, so we'll take what we can get. But this week's probably going to be miserable. At least it's water season, so I can use like Legendary Crom on offense or whatever. But of course, Fallen Edelgard's still bonus, so Crom and company will definitely need to put in a lot of work. Bracier's bonus, and I don't know how we're gonna deal with that. You don't worry about that, I guess. I was debating whether to put it in Crom this week, but decided we might as well just keep goofballing with this terrible meme setup that can kind of do things. So, yeah, nothing too special there. Also didn't mention during the replays video that you might have noticed I did... Which one is it? I did change the layout a tiny bit, like towards the end of the week. Didn't really affect anything, but figured I would mention that. This is just some of the old school archives. This is way back when, if you go back to the super early days of the Ether Raids replays videos, you might get an idea of what this meme layout was about. it was basically trying to capitalize on the fact that Cav beasts, when transform, do something interesting. And in the case of Caden, he can also buff allies, so if he attacks into someone that baits from here and he doesn't die, he can lunge them onto the bolt trap, activate Wings of Mercy to go fling units in for the memes. But yeah, of course, if you saw this nowadays, it would definitely be a free win. Apparently it wasn't too free of a win back then. But Resonant Battles, of course, dropping back to Interval 19. Who knows how long it'll be before I get my first Harmonized hero. Probably, I don't know, a year from now. Point being, it's gonna be a while. But at this point, we are now back in tier 21. I think we're bouncing again because the bonus rotation isn't great for us again. Kinda don't want to build anyone in the rotation. So at least we're above 2100 orbs now, which is cool. Definitely a new record so far for the highest amount of orbs I've saved, but really it just comes down to how many orbs am I willing to stockpile and summon with in an entire stream. Because the reason why I don't stockpile like thousands and even more thousands of orbs is just because it would take way too long to summon with them. So I figured, you know, kind of want to keep myself sane and not make irrational decisions while summoning with large quantities of orbs. So, for those reasons, we're gonna be summoning about a month from now, I would think. Oh boy. That's gonna be it for this episode. Thanks for watching. As always, this is Ether Dragon, and that was a leg spike. Bye.